My proudest moment was being part of the 1956 All-City Championship team for Garfield High School. That was obviously a memory I'll never forget.
This is a segment of history that has gone unmentioned forever. And I think just to expose everyone, not just Mexican Americans, to this type of book is very educational for all of us, culturally, educationally, and historically.
For generations to come, I think it's going to be something for our younger kids to look and have something proud to say that they're Mexican Americans and that they can take this further along into their careers.
Baseball is a great influence on a young person. It leads you to a clean life, an honest life.
I would say my proudest moment in baseball was when I was pitching for Roosevelt High School. And it was our very first year of starting baseball after World War II had ended, and it was the first team reinstated after the war. So here we were, just starting out with a new team, new fellows all together, and we went to the city playoffs and we got into what we call the Dorsey tournament. And we were playing now in what we call the one of the divisional championships. And we went all the way to the finals, and on the last day of the finals, you play a doubleheader. You have to play 2 games. And I'm proud to say I pitched and won both games.
The proudest moment I had quite a few though, but when my dad got us all together and says, we're going to start our own team. So we got the 9 brothers together. We went out and played a few benefit games, and it turned out very well. And whatever money we collected and stuff, we turned it over to the little league of the town that we played in, and they would buy uniforms. The other time was when I first signed my contract. They offered me a contract to go to Mexico to play. I had played here 1 year already, and I didn't want to go. But my dad told me, you go, that way you get to see Mexico, and you get to play ball, and you get to meet a lot of nice people. So I went to Mexico, and I was very proud of that.
I started in baseball. I just played ball. We just got together with a bunch of guys who played ball. And then we went to Fresno playground, started playing baseball. I got old, went to school, went to high school. And I got my brothers started, because I'm one of the oldest Peñas. I got Richie Peña, Johnny, Eddie. Eddie's a good ball player, so did Johnny. George, Victor, and all of them. We all played ball. But I was the one that inspired Richie and Johnny and all of them to get out their butts to go play ball. And and then I played a lot of baseball, but and then I went to the service, and that was it.
Growing up in the area and the Carmelita ball team When we were kids, we were brought up watching them play, and finally reached my highlight when I was able to play with the team. One of the highlights that I had was playing for the city championship at Wrigley Field against Joe Moeller and the Redondo Beach team, which we ended up beating. And like I say, it was one of the highlights during the time that I played with him, which was about 15 years. In the 15 years, you got to meet some of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
I do have one experience that I had with Carmelita, and it was the third inning, and Shorty says, "Ronquillo, you're up." And we were playing a team. This guy had a real fast pitcher. And so I said, "Art, what do I do? I mean, I don't know the signs and all that, and I don't know if I can hit this guy." He said, "No, just go up there." He says, "This guy throws pretty straight, pretty fast." So he says, as soon as he releases the ball on the first pitch, start swinging. And don't close your eyes. So I said, okay. So I went up there, and sure enough, the first pitch, as soon as he let it go, I started swinging, and I hit it. And it rolled, a slow roller to second base, and I got a hit out of it, went to first base. Anyway, the next time, before I got up the next time, 2 players came, so then I just sat and watched the rest of the game. But there's a joke among Carmelita that Ronquillo was the only player in Carmelita's history that ever batted 1,000.
I think that this special occasion is significant and important in many ways, but I'm particularly proud that I'm joining with all of you to honor heroes in our community. You know, in our community, we don't get the kind of opportunities to honor the heroes as often as we should, and we have many amongst us.
Socially, you're accepted by friends, that come out to see the ball games. People that are in the park, they really cherish spending the day with you. And my proudest moment was being with older fellows that were all veteran baseball players. And I was just out of high school, and they put me in, and I played regularly. And I was happy to be able to hit. And some of these fellows had come back from Korea, and the first thing they did was take up getting back in and playing baseball. And just being around these fellows that were soldiers, I liked being with them.
There really hasn't been much material written with the Mexican-American ball players, especially I'm just barely finding out right now that when I was playing, my coaches, my teachers and some of my high school coaches were playing before me, but they were starting all this tradition of the Mexican-American baseball. And for me, I can remember probably the proudest thing would probably be to put on that uniform, because it wasn't just a game to me, and I know to a lot of people I played with. It was basically a way of life, a way of showing that we were equal or better than going into certain neighborhoods where we had heard that they were a little bit more well off than we were. It was a way of life for us, and we took that to heart. And so when it came to baseball, it was probably wearing that uniform. That was my way of life, and I really took that serious.
During my young years and early teenage years, I started playing baseball at Belvedere Park in 1959 when they started a Little League program there. Played a little bit of Garfield, just not even 1 year, I got hurt. Coach Padilla was my coach, baseball coach. I was a catcher. Many memories with my dad and all his players that I've seen today, many years. Too many memories to even start one, but all I can say, my proudest time in my baseball short career, Little League. I was the only one to hit a home run off one pitcher that struck out everybody in the whole league. And I hit a home run and a double. Alex Susasio, he made it to the major leagues. I think Chicago, I'm not too sure. He's a policeman now. But when they gave out the trophies for the Little League, when they gave out the trophies at the end of the year, every name was on the baseball he struck out. Every name was on there, every Little League player. And I said, how about mine? I was thinking 9 or 10 years. I hit a home run off him. Shh, quiet, don't say anything. And to this day, I'm 61 years old. I'll never forget that.
Played baseball with Carmelita Provisions, and he was very passionate, like all the players that are here, especially today, about playing. To him, it was life and death. He started playing at the age of 19 in 1929, and he continued playing until the late 1950s. So it was always a part of our lives, and I remember traveling with the family to Evergreen Park. My mother would pack a big lunch for all the kids, and we'd go and we'd spend the whole day down at Evergreen. So baseball has always been a part of my life and my brothers, and now it's gone to the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren.
I remember that our games were at 1 o'clock, and we were just having some batting practice, and you'll see the people coming from across the street, right after the mass. They were coming from Talpa Catholic Church, and they had mariachis, they had vendors, they had tamales, they had kids running all over that place. They were having such a great time, and one of the things that I really liked was performing for them, actually, because they would look forward every Sunday. Some of the seniors. One of the seniors will tell me, Shilo, we're retired, we're seniors. We'll look forward to next Sunday to come and see you guys play. This is what we got. I said, no problem. We will be here for you guys, and the family enjoy. Like I said, it was a family affair.
One day I went to Evergreen Park, which is in 4th Street, and one of the team, they had enough players. They needed one. One of the managers, he told me, hey, did you pitch? I said, yes. Here, he gave me the ball, he gave me a uniform. He said, go put your uniform over there in the restroom. And I pitched that game, and there was a semi-pro league. And it happened, I beat the other team, which was Burgermeister Beer. And since then, I used to play for Carmelita Chorizo. We won the city championship 5 years in a row. I don't think nobody else has done that in so many years.
My father was Wally Poon, and he was called an honorary Peña brother. I didn't know that much about my dad's growing up years, but I do have photos of him playing baseball and with his team members. And one of my prized possessions is a photo signed by 8 of the 9 Peña brothers that says to Wally Peña, Poon Peña. And I literally was just wondering about them and what happened to them, because I have that photo in my house, and every day I would walk by it and look at it. After all these years, I found the book. He's in the book. I've met the Peña brothers. I've met Al Padilla. I've met all these wonderful friends of his who have told me stories about my dad, and I basically not only reconnected with my father, but I found a whole family. And it's been a blessing and it's been a gift.
And all the neighborhood kids used to come around and they'll remember me being the manager, but every time I came from work, everybody ran home because Mr. Perez was coming. He was going to drill us to see we had all our homework done and ask them about baseball, what they knew about it. I think the proudest moment that I had was I was about 8 years old. But of course, at that age, I didn't know who was Darn Larson. And my dad pitched against him at Brookside Park, which Brookside Park is right next to the Rose Bowl. That was the greatest moment when I discovered that my dad had pitched against a guy that made the big leagues.
My first year in ball, 52, I made the All-Star team. I beat out a ball player that ended up playing with the New York Yankees, and he ended up being traded to Oakland. That's Jerry Lumpy. And also on that team from Joplin, Missouri, there was John Blanchard. He was a catcher with the Yankees. And Norm Seaburn. So I played against some pretty good ball players in those days.
I think we should have been scouted with more Mexican Americans, that there were better players than the whites. And I was told if I was in Mexican, I could have been in the big leagues. So it shows in my average. I batted very high, and I think very prejudice has changed quite a bit. But still, we don't have enough Mexicans Americans in the big leagues, and they should be.
We were playing baseball and in a league where you eliminated and so forth until you end up with two teams to play for the championship, okay? But prior to that, I was going to get married. And it just so happens the championship and the marriage was on the same day, on the same time. Well, we didn't know what to do because the majority of the ball players were in the wedding. And I got a bright idea. So we went over there when the playground closed at night and turned on all the water. So when we come back early in the morning, before I went to the wedding and so forth, the whole place was like this underwater, the whole field. So we went ahead, got married, and then when we came back with a group of cars, toot toot, and they were looking at it, and everybody was underwater, and they had to cancel the game. They couldn't figure out how it happened.
Proudest moments was when I went with the Los Angeles Dodgers to spring training in 1959, and I remember getting 2 line shots. My first time at bat against them, I hit a line shot to left field. My next at bat, I hit one to right center field. And at that moment, I felt that I had attracted the attention of the Dodger officials, and that I had a chance to play with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And that was probably my biggest, happiest moment.
I think just putting on the uniform, it was a great thing for me. I have a father who passed away about 4 or 5 years ago who played professional baseball, and I'm very proud of that. And he played baseball when Mexican Americans had a hard time playing baseball. This is before Jackie Robinson. This happened in 1922, 23, 24 when my dad was a young man in Texas. And that I'm very proud of. That's, I think, number one. My accomplishments to what my dad did, I believe is secondary.
I grew up in the east side of Los Angeles and was interested in sports as a little kid. Had an ambition to be a professional baseball player, and so went to Garfield High School and East Los Angeles Junior High School. And probably at that point, when I got offered a scholarship to University of Southern California to play baseball, was probably a big change in my life. You know, it's kind of like a dream come true to play for a university which was #1 in baseball at the time, and to come in and start at shortstop was probably, as I think back, the most memorable moment in baseball. One thing I want to say about playing for Carmelita, which was the premier baseball team in East Los Angeles, there was a lot of great Latin ball players that played for Carmelita, and I was fortunate to meet and play with them. These guys were as good as any of the ball players that I played with down the line in pro ball. I know a lot of them made it in professional baseball, and some in the major leagues. So I would say that I was very fortunate to have that experience to play for Carmelita.
Baseball was everything to us. That's all we did, was played baseball. And you meet a lot of people with a common value of baseball, cut across all kinds of economical and social atmospheres, just baseball. No matter how bad you were or how good you were, as long as you played, you were part of the team. And I have to say that the proudest moment in my baseball career when I received a baseball scholarship to the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where I played for 2 years, and I have very fond memories of those 2 years.
Charlie went to El Paso, was playing in El Paso. Here's a Los Angeles boy out in El Paso, Texas. And he says, Al, this is a story he told me. Here's two brothers. He said, Al, we're going to the team. The first time I had an awful experience. The team goes to a restaurant to eat, and me and this other Mexican guy that were on the team, they stopped us and says, well, they can't eat here. They have to go across the street. So there's a little Mexican restaurant across the street, so they sent them across the street to eat. That's the first time he experienced that, and it was like a slap in the face.
My first adventure with baseball was over where the Belvedere Park is now.
It was